Okay, guys, the Epstein files were released last week in America, and Ireland was mentioned 1,600 times. Hi there, welcome back to the Politics Podcast. Yes, today I'm talking about the Epstein files and about things that were on X that you won't see on RTE. And one of them was that a young woman emailed the FBI and told them that she was trafficked into Ireland by Jeffrey Epstein when she was just 13 years of age. When she was a 13-year-old girl, she said that Jeffrey Epstein brought her into Ireland for politicians and notable men. So we let that sink in. Politicians and notable men at 13 years of age. Now, what's notable today is the silence. The silence from our politicians. I had to release an article on X on Saturday night, late Saturday night, because I was shocked at the silence, especially from our opposition. From our opposition parties, the leaders who claim to be all for women's rights were silent on this case. I don't understand how they are not calling for an immediate investigation into this girl's claims and into the 1,600 times Ireland has been mentioned in the Epstein files. The Irish, we deserve to know what's going on. And we deserve to know the true extent of the links of Jeffrey Epstein, his island, and this island. And the silence is not acceptable. Now, we probably will never know. That is the problem. We probably will never know because, shockingly, Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express, landed at Irish airports many, many times from 1996 to 2008. But we will never know how many times, who was with him, who got off the jet, who went back on the jet, who did he take back with him. We will never know because, shockingly, when you go looking, you discover that all the records of Jeffrey Epstein's visits to Ireland have been shredded. Shredded. Do they expect us to believe that this convicted paedophile landed in Ireland many, many times just for a pint of Guinness and a breakfast roll, just for a stopover? It's absolutely outrageous, but the Department of Justice, in all their wisdom, ordered those records to be shredded some time back now. So as I said, this poor girl's claims and this girl's accusations about what was done to her, we probably will never get to the bottom of it. And I'm wondering, is that why our politicians today are staying silent on this part of the Jeffrey Epstein files? Because they know it's all been shredded anyway. They know that there's probably no record there for an investigation, and it's absolutely shocking. But that's where we are, guys, and all we are left with then, in the absence of the records and in the absence of files, we are all left with rumour. And of course, the rumour mill turned last week when these files were dropped, and people started naming Irish stars and Irish politicians with possible links to Jeffrey Epstein. And as I say, in the absence of proper information, misinformation, their favourite words, the media and the politicians' favourite word, obviously, misinformation starts bubbling to the surface when you don't have proper information. Obviously, misinformation will come up. But people were linking names with Jeffrey Epstein. All week it was going on. Certain stars, Bono, for example, Bono's name. And then the Journal, which is a left-wing publication, in all their wisdom, they released an article, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, about a debunking article saying the names of these people had absolutely no link with Jeffrey Epstein whatsoever. I think they listed Bono and some politicians. But when you go looking, in 2019, the Daily Mirror, did an article actually linking the same people with Jeffrey Epstein. So that's where we are, guys. So if you read an article in 2019 linking Bono and all the others, people that the people are linking today, that the Journal has just thought they have debunked, It is in an article in 2019, an actual article, a star-studded gala dance in 2002. Jeffrey Epstein was there. All the Irish politicians and stars were there. Bertie Ahern, Mary Robinson, Mary McAleese, they were all there. Nobody's saying that they sat on Jeffrey Epstein's table and whatever, but they were there. And an article in 2019 linked all those people to this night out in Dublin where Jeffrey Epstein was. And now people are getting scolded if they even dare bring up the names of these people, the same people, in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. And so we have debunked the Journal's debunking article, and it was very, very quick to debunk that. So, but that is where we are when the flight records have been shredded and there is no information here in Ireland for the public to look through. At least, yes, at least in America and the rest of the world, the Jeffrey Epstein files were released after a long time and a long fight to get them released. And yes, they are heavily redacted. They are heavily redacted, and people are angry at that because they're redacting the perpetrator. Obviously, the victims have to be redacted, but they are redacting names of emails sent to and fro to Jeffrey Epstein, and people are really, really looking for the names of the perpetrators. And I think this week that they are going to release those names in America. But that's not the point. The point is, at least the people of the world have the files. As heavily as redacted as they are, at least they are in existence. But here we have to put up with that they were shredded. So that's the madness. That is the madness that we have to put up with here. There are many, many other references and other links to Ireland with Jeffrey Epstein. He bought a helicopter from an Irish company. He was talking to and fro about a failed AIB deal back in the day. And I think he's linked to some prominent people who in the Good Friday Agreement as well, George Mitchell and the like. And Bertie Ahern is out now shouting that he doesn't know what the connection could be. But I mean, there's going to be rumours. When there is no information, obviously the rumours will be flying, and you cannot blame the public. And the media and the politicians cannot blame the public for that. But as part of my article, as I said, I wrote an article calling out the silence of our politicians on that poor young girl's claim that she was trafficked for politicians and notable men. As part of that, I started thinking that last week, while they were so silent, they were at the very same time hunting Elon Musk down, and more importantly, hunting X down, looking to take X down. And as you know, my whole podcast here is to bring you guys the news from X. Because in my opinion, without X, we would have no news. X is news by the people for the people. Okay? So I found it very, very, very interesting that they had an Oireachtas Media Committee convened last week to bring the tech companies in particular X they wanted to speak to, and X declined to attend. And they said that they convened this because of the Grok story, and they said it was in the interest of the women's safety, children's safety, and everything. And X declined to attend. And I just thought it was very, very interesting. They are going after X and Elon Musk, going after free speech, actually. They are going after them, hunting them down, while at the same time remaining silent on Epstein and the links to Ireland and this poor girl's claims, and what other things will come out in the wash, God only knows. But they are at the same time ignoring that. So they're hunting Elon Musk and X down. They're saying it's for women's safety and children's safety, and at the same time remaining silent on an actual convicted paedophile and links to Ireland and children being trafficked for politicians and notable men. So that's where we are, guys. There is a clear divide and a clear issue as to what exactly is going on with our politicians and our media trying to debunk things that are clearly out there, clearly true and out there. And I'll play you a little video now of the scene when X didn't attend at the Oireachtas Committee. And I want you to bear in mind when you see this video I'm going to play that all of these, or most of these, TDs in the Oireachtas Committee, when they post something on X, they turn their comments off. And I've told you this before, guys. So when they post something on X, ministers, whoever, when they post something, they turn their comments off so that the public never get a chance to reply to the post or even to query anything or to ask them anything. So that is how, I would say, sneaky or just basically don't want to answer questions. These are public representatives who turn off their comments so that the public cannot question them. Now, how crazy is that? And no wonder X did not attend that Oireachtas Committee. Why would they? Why would they attend questioning to people, to TDs and politicians who don't even allow the people that they represent to question them? So there you go. Let me play this for you guys.
A company with its European headquarters literally down the road here has refused to attend.
This afternoon's committee began as expected without its key figure, Elon Musk's X, not just turning down the chair's invitation, but a written request from the Taoiseach, a move denounced across the board.
It is concerning in respect of X's decision not to attend before the Oireachtas Committee.
Disappointed but not surprised. They should be there. It's disrespectful not to be there. It's unhelpful not to be there.
There was gratitude to Google, Meta and TikTok for attending, but concern too about how they handled it.
These companies saying that basically if 3 of the 4 turned up, they would turn up. I found that extremely strange. I actually found it unacceptable.
TikTok came under fire for this response to harms.
I don't think that the presence of problematic content necessarily means that companies are failing. What our responsibility is to ensure that we are minimising harm to as close to zero as possible.
There shouldn't really be a position whereby content on your platform should be in a position to harm young people. It should be a zero tolerance position.
And members were frustrated by a lack of hard Irish data.
You have to check with your bosses on whether you can give testimony here, well, not finished, testimony here on how many under 16 accounts there are in Ireland. That is deeply, deeply worrying.
X's refusal to take part in today's meeting comes as its offices in Paris were raided with a summons issued to Elon Musk himself, while Spain's Prime Minister has taken aim at the company in a package of new laws which he says will hold social media executives to account for what happens on their platforms. The criticism from opposition is that the government is simply being caught flat-footed and failing to take action against companies in our own backyard. Richard Chambers, Virgin Media News at Leinster House.
So there you have it. There you have it. Shocking. They were getting their knickers in a twist as to why X would not bow down to them. And they are the same people who will not allow you or me to question them. The people they represent. So that's where we are, guys. That is what I wanted to bring you today. The clear divide of the silence of the Jeffrey Epstein's links to Ireland, and then the hunting of Elon Musk and X down. What's wrong with these people? I do not know. I do not know. But I thank you for joining me. I'll be here as always to bring you all the latest news from X. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done. Share the info in the video with your family and friends and tell them all about the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks a million, guys.